official Twitter account shared a meme comparing Putin to Hitler. Some say it was juvenile, some say it's an important and necessary comparison that needs to be made. Hi, I'm Yasmin with Rebel HQ. Thank you for joining me. Now, first of all, memes have been around forever. It's not a millennial or a Gen Z thing. It didn't start with the internet. They're prolific pieces of culture that get shared amongst the populace. Now they just get shared more easily and more prolifically with social media. So you can call it a meme, you can call it a political cartoon. It doesn't really matter. That's not the story. That said, the Ukrainian government did tweet that it's not a meme, implying that they're not being hyperbolic, nor are they trying to make light of a very serious situation. Now, this isn't the first time that Putin has been compared to Hitler, but it seems as though Putin himself has leaned into the likeness by employing many of the same stratagems, rhetorical points, and tactics for his imperialism. But let's start with a quick timeline of events going back to the 1930s. Following World War I, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was dissolved, but the nation of Austria was denied the option of joining Germany despite general support for the idea amongst Austrians. Many Austrians shared cultural heritage with Germans, but on top of that, the nation was broke. Austrians didn't mind the idea of Germany helping them out financially. Resistance to annexation, which came to be known as the Anschluss, came about when Hitler came to power in Germany, but by way of a probably rigged referendum, Austria voted overwhelmingly to become a part of Germany. After that, Germany invaded Czechoslovakia, and then Poland followed a year later. Germany's invasion of Poland is generally considered the start of the war. We're going to focus today more on Czechoslovakia. The nation of Czechoslovakia, as it once was, had significant Czech and Slovak populations, but there was also a significant German population. Hitler claimed that Germans were being persecuted, so he justified taking parts of it for Germany. The other European powers were still recovering their losses from the war, so even if they wanted to stop Hitler, they weren't in much of a position to do so. Instead, they tried diplomacy, which really just resulted in them doing nothing. This became known as the Munich Agreement, which involved Britain, France, and Italy conceding the Sudetenland of Czechoslovakia to Hitler, taking him at his word that if he got the Sudetenland, he wouldn't take anything else. The people of Czechoslovakia were notably left out of this discussion, and the Munich Agreement came to be known as the Munich Betrayal. Of course, Hitler wasn't great at keeping his promises, so a few months later, he just took more. He said that it was a matter of national security for Germany as well as for Germans living in Czechoslovakia, and that if the Czech president didn't acquiesce to his request, he would just take it by force. The president surrendered and Hitler moved in. 1 year later, Hitler invaded Poland and kicked off the Second World War on an already battered and broken continent. Hopefully this is starting to sound a little familiar. Putin used a similar justification for his invasion of Ukraine. First, he declared pro-Russian regions as independent, which he didn't have a right to do. Then he claimed that pro-Russian Ukrainians and Russians in Ukraine were being persecuted by the Ukrainian government without offering any evidence to back up his claim. He asserted that it was a matter of Russian national security for Ukraine to become a part of Russia in response to NATO's encroachment in the east, and he said that Ukraine was really a part of Russia, which is similar to what Hitler said about Austria before he occupied it. Now, especially when you consider Putin's annexation of Crimea in 2014, you can equate that with the Anschluss in Austria. It was a move that didn't elicit as much of a global response as it probably should have, and it put Putin in a better position to make further territorial gains. There's a difference between hyperbole and fact, and it's easy to draw parallels between people and events when you're looking for them. But the fact that the Ukrainian government is the one making these assertions is evidence enough that the world should at least be considering history as an indicator of potential future events.